Anyway, we start off in the city of Neverwinter, and it's there that each of you met a dwarf named Gundren Rockseeker, who hired you to bring a wagon load of provisions to the rough and tumble settlement of Phandelver, a few days' travel southeast of the city. Gundren was clearly excited and more than a little secretive about this recruitment and this job. He eschewed the normal methods of hiring a crew, no posts on message boards or inquiries at guild halls, or calls out in crowded taverns. He sought you out discreetly and is paying well for this simple task and your discretion.
So do we all know what each other's making on this, or is it a secret?
Just a second. Yes, you can attack Gundren. He didn't tell anyone his reasons for the trip, saying only that he and his brothers had found something big, and that he'd pay you 10 gold pieces each for escorting his supplies safely to Barthen's Provisions, a trading post in Phandelver. So how he discovered you guys, hired you guys, is totally up to you. So did you chance by and meet him? Does he know a friend of a friend who knows you? Do you happen to know him from some previous work? So it's up to you. So I want you to introduce your characters and tell us how you got hired on by Gundren Rockseeker. Dr. Xanth. Okay, we'll start with Warner. All right.
I call them anal repairs.
He had a prolapse years ago, and Dr. Xanth helped him out with that. That's good.
Oh, you're adventuring. So you and Bell know each other. Then you're related.
Okay, Eldera, I guess we'll kind of shift over to you. How did tell us a little bit about your character and how you got hired on by Gundren?
Well, it's kind of because I have to.
You're muted.
Bell, you're muted. No?
Am I muted?
No, now you are. Now. No, we can hear you now.
Okay. I'm Adara. I am human. I am his sister. I'm also another person who will come later, sister. So I have 2 half-orc brothers, and I'm full human.
So that sounds like a fucked up family.
So that's weird.
You always get us in trouble.
Our father liked all kinds of things.
Yeah, it sounds like one of those Pornhub families.
I'm the baby of the family.
Okay, so did you guys know Gundren? Was he a friend of your father's, maybe, or how'd you guys get hired onto this trip?
Oh yeah, he knew our dad, and Dad wanted us out of the house because apparently he has another lady friend.
Hey, there you go.
And I think our father had done some business with him as well, because Gundren being a businessman. And I remember I had escorted several other caravans before this, dealing with just small rabble, kobolds and goblins and stuff. So I held my own weight. All of the packages that were being delivered by Gundren, for Gundren, always made it to their destination on time, in one piece, not being stolen by bandits or anything. So that's why he had contacted me, is because he knows that Warnerv will get the job done.
Awesome. Okay, Dr. Xanth, how did you...
mine isn't the same story about how nepotism got me the job, like these losers. So, I go by the name of Dr. Zamp, but, between you and me, I'm not really a doctor. I'm an illusionist. So what I do is I go from town to town with fake uh, 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 elixirs, and I'll illusion some pox on a town, and then I'll allow that to run its course, and then at the right time I'll offer the people a remedy, which then they'll get. Things didn't work so well in the last town, and I was thrown in prison, kind of chained up with this whole that's illegal thing. But I don't think it's illegal. I think it's just a creative way to make money. Uh, they took my elixirs. They impounded the majority of my money. Uh, and Gunther was good enough to bail me out, and he's going to get me back on my feet if I just do this one thing for him. One thing. He said, "Hey, Dr. Zamp," but my real name is Sarbanes Oxley, but people just call me Dr. Zamp. I'm from Thay, so my go-to name when I go places is I'm just the doctor. Everybody knows that. It's hard in a group like this because I'm not a cleric, right? So it can be a little bit uncomfortable sometimes when people call me a doctor. But anyway, long story short, if I can just do this one thing for Gunther, then I get to go back. I'll get my wagon, I'll get my stuff, and then I can be on my way to the next town.
Okay, so he's got a soft spot for gnomes, and
forest gnomes. You know what they say? Once you go gnome, you never go home.
That's something like that. They say that. So okay, all right. So well, on the appointed day, your small caravan sets off from the south gate of Neverwinter, with just the one wagon pulled by a team of 2 oxen. Gundren, mounted on a shaggy-haired, stout little pony, and another mounted warrior, introduced to the group as Gundren's personal escort, named Sildar Hallwinter. Almost immediately, Gundren began complaining about the slow pace of the oxen's deliberate plodding, and declared that, "At this rate, we'll not make Phandelver before the winter sets in. Come on, you fat cows, get a move on."
Sounds like he's Japanese.
He does. At that pronouncement, a sharp snap and a dull thud brings the wagon to a shuddering stop, and one wheel is cocked at a strange angle and has almost separated from the hub. "Oh, great. I had to open my mouth about the pace. What's wrong now?"
Kind of sounds Scottish. That's a good Scottish accent.
I try. I'm not great, but I'll do my best.
A lot better than mine.
Does anybody have land vehicles as a skill?
I do now.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me just double check since I randomly rolled this guy. I don't have land vehicles, but I can speak with small beasts, so I can talk to the oxen to find out what their deal is.
The oxen are large beasts. So
I'll talk to half of them then. I'll just talk to part of them. Maybe just their buttocks.
All right.
Maybe their feet.
Sildar has some experience here, so he's able to help out. And you discover that the hub slipped off, and it can be repaired, but you've got to unload the wagon. We've got to get it up on a jack and reset everything. And with this, Gundren's just furious, and he says, I kind of lose a day every time the wagon gets a bit creaky. Come on, Sildar, you and I will go ahead and this lot will nurse the wagon along. There hasn't been talk of trouble on the trail since for 10 days now. It'll be fine. And unless you guys object.
Oh no! So he's going to leave us the wagon. We're going to take the wagon.
He is. He's going to leave you guys.
What all? Before we go too far, what all materials are on this wagon, and what is their approximate worth?
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that Gundren says, that he's not worried about it because the pay you'll get is worth more than what's in the wagon. So what's in the wagon is some mining type tools, picks and shovels and mallets and that sort of thing, and also food. The most valuable thing in there is probably a keg of oil. Other than that, there's barrels of dried meats and pickled vegetables, and there's a sack of grain, that sort of thing. It's very mundane stuff.
Nothing that's going to be worth the 20 gold that I'm getting. I know everybody else was getting 10, but we had a special deal with me and Gunder. I got 10. I got 20 gold.
Yeah, I thought I was getting
30. It's technically worth more than the 30 gold that the three of you will get when you get it there.
Oh, so I was lied to. 30 gold split 3 ways? I thought it was 30 gold for just me and my services.
10 gold apiece. He was very clear. And yeah, it's probably worth 100 gold pieces all told, but you'd have to sell it, and it would be
that's a lot of work.
And yeah, be a little bit.
I want to know a little bit more about Silgar the bodyguard, though. What's he look like? What's his race?
Yeah, sure. So Sildar is a human. He's
I don't trust him.
A little bit graying. He's got a goatee and slicked back hair. He carries a longsword and has studded leather armor on. He's a good rider, and he is mounted on a chestnut mare, and seems like a nice guy. Do you want to give me a perception check?
Yeah, I might want to point out to Silgar, though, he has this rash on the back of his neck that he might want to get looked at.
We'll get to that in a minute. Go ahead and give me a quick perception check.
Yeah, let me do a perception check.
I'm actually proficient in medicine. If you would like to have me do a medicine check on that rash, I can actually determine how that rash came to be.
Okay, let me do a perception check. Here we go.
What did you get yourself in?
I got a 3, so suck it, losers.
You got a 3. That's pretty
Wait. In this game, isn't it lower the better?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought I had to roll under. Let me try again.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
So yeah, when he was introduced by Gundren as my personal escort or whatever, you did notice that Sildar kind of gave a smile and a half, kind of a little chuckle about that introduction. Other than that, he seems like a pleasant fellow. Carries himself well in the saddle. You haven't seen him with his sword yet, but he looks like he could handle himself in a fight.
All right.
Anything else you want to know?
I want to know what he smells like. No, I mean, I'm fine, actually. Yeah.
Smells like
Oh, saddle soap. That's interesting for humans,
I mean. Teen Spirit.
All right. Well, no, that's good, because I was, just want to know a little bit about Silgar before he gets killed. I want to be able to take this to his family.
Before we take all of his stuff.
Before we take everything that they possibly could own.
All right, so with that, Sildar and Gundren gallop off ahead and are going to go to Phandelver ahead of you guys. So it takes most of the day to unload the wagon, fix the hub, reload the wagon, etc. And with that, you're back to traveling again.
So just to let you know, I'm not really into menial labor, but I'm sure the relatives, the brother and sister, over here can handle the majority of it. I don't know how good I am at fixing, wagon wheels.
Yeah, so...
Well, just stand aside, Dr. Zamp. I'll take care of that for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've got doctor stuff to do.
Yeah, you look a little meek. I don't know if you could handle all of the, the work in this weather that we're having.
Well, I have some papers to go through anyway. I hear this town we're heading to has got a terrible virus that's rampaging. It's a kind of warts all on the side of people. Anyway, so I'm going there. Maybe I can help out somehow.
Maybe that's how Sildar got the rash on the back of his neck.
It's possible. I mean, that looked pretty bad. If I do cantrip myself, save myself.
Can I do a cursory glance of a medicine check to see if there is something that could possibly lead to a catastrophic event?
You can do a medicine check, you bet.
Against what, my illusion?
Oh, look at that, my first roll. 20,
it's a freaking 20. Crit. So it wouldn't even matter.
It doesn't matter. So you notice right away that this quote-unquote rash has zero texture to it, and even though it looks like it has texture to it, it's fake.
Well, I mean,
And
that's
so you
just
know
how
that
this rash is.
some
It's
kind of
called an
illusion.
illusionary wart rash.
Yeah,
So it doesn't have like pus and like any open wounds or nothing?
it looks like a really crappy illusion.
You mean I just
Oh,
wasted that 20 on nothing?
You sure did.
Oh,
Thanks, Dr. Zamp.
thanks, Doc.
I guess I'll stop
Just take a
projecting
break.
that.
Take a
Stop
break.
projecting that virus on that guy.
There's a
Then.
couple of trees over there. Here, let me tie up this hammock for you that's on the wagon.
Oh, wait
And
a
you
minute.
just take a break, and I'll take care of changing the wheel and getting it all fixed up and ready to go.
Well, Warner, that doesn't sound like such a bad idea. Get that hammock set up for me.
Yeah, so I get the hammock set up, and then I kind of take off my shirt as I'm working, right? And I'm just glistening in the sun because
Rippling with muscles.
I'm just ripping with muscles. I've got like a 12 pack and all that other stuff, so I'm just
So,
working it.
and orc sweat is a very pungent odor, as you soon discover, Dr. Zamp. And,
Pungent as in sexy?
well, no, I think it's really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Well, I mean, I'm probably going to have a hard enough time being a gnome jumping up in a freaking hammock. I mean, how high did you
don't
make
have
this
to jump
thing?
up into the hammock. I go ahead and I pick you up and I set you and I kind of coddle you and kind of rock you a little bit as I put you in.
I better roll for holding my breath.
All right. So you guys get the wagon fixed, and you're on your way. A couple days later, you turn down the Triborg Trail towards Phandelver. And then I'm going to share a map with you here.
So how long does it usually take us to get to this place, by the way?
About 4 days.
4 days? And we're just halfway there?
You're a little more than halfway there. You're about
All right, sweet.
3 days on.
Great job on the wheel, you two.
So you've been on the Triborg Trail for about half a day.
Thanks.
As you come around a bend, you spot 2 dead horses sprawled about 50 feet ahead of you, blocking the path. Even from this distance, the putrid smell of the rotting and bloated animals assaults your nostrils. Each has several black-feathered arrows sticking out of it. One was surely the mount of Sildar, a chestnut mare with white markings. The other mount, that of Gundren, a stout little Shetland pony. There are no signs of the riders. The woods press close to the trail here with a steep embankment and dense thickets on either side.
Shit. Good news and bad news, folks. Good news is we just made about 100 gold. Bad news is we're going to have to sell everything on this wagon.
Here's the bummer.
Is that to buy your new supply of snakeskin oil there,
That's
Dr.
right.
Zamp?
Well, I smell something incredibly pungent. I don't know if it's the orc or the dead horses. I'm going to go with dead horses.
I'm going to say the dead orcs.
It's the dead horses. Yeah, this is
All
a new pungent smell.
So I'm going to jump down off the cart and go investigate the horses to see if there's anything on them that might be of interest or of value.
Very good. Okay, so you can just move your. Everyone can see the map. Okay.
Splendid.
Yeah, it looks pretty
Very
nice.
Yeah, beautiful map. Did you hand draw that?
I did.
Check for
I'm an
traps.
artist.
It's really good.
No.
That's really good.
Pulled it off the internet.
Those horses look a little like they're stuffed, but I'm assuming it's because they're bloated.
They are bloated. Could I get a nature check from you?
Oh, great. Oh. Wow.
Very
Considering I have
good.
+0.
All right.
Sis. Nice
Fat.
job.
Okay. Fat black flies buzz about the bloated mounts. The saddlebags of each have been stripped off and carried away, with a few bits of detritus left behind. An empty map case lays next to the poor pony, and drag marks by both animals indicate that the riders were hauled to the north side of the road. Streaks of blood in the dirt here show that the mounts were not alone in taking injury. Sildar seems to have been pinned under his mount, his left boot remaining behind after he was yanked free of the downed mount. Gundren seems to have been knocked free of his mount, and a pool of blood has collected where his body must have laid.
I'm going to make sure there's
Smooth
nothing
drag
in the
mark?
map